All right, I think I'm here. If I can get a yay or nay in the chat about the audio, because I have no clue if anything's working. I've been having so many problems with OBS lately. I think I got them fixed, though. We'll see. We got some yays. How is everybody this evening? Or afternoon, or whatever time it is for everybody? I'm glad the sound is working. So, I distro hopped again today. This is getting to be a very bad habit. Um, so for those of you guys who didn't watch the podcast, and I won't blame you if you didn't, because that thing was an hour long, just bitch fest. Uh, but I was having problems with OBS. I thought I had gotten all my Linux problems done, just fixed. I was on Vanilla Arch. I was having a good time. But for whatever reason, OBS and the window capture X composite thing, anytime I would switch away from a workspace that had the window being captured on it, OBS would start stuttering. Don't know why. And I tried to get help over the last like 2 or 3 days. I went to the OBS people. They told me what the problem was, but not how to fix it. I went to the DWM subreddit. They didn't know how to fix it. I went back to the Arco Linux guys because it works on Arco Linux, so I figured maybe there was some magic or whatever that Arco does in order to get it to work. They didn't have any solutions for me either. So I ended up hopping back to Arco because I use the window capture all the time. And yeah, it works fine now. I'm back on Arco. It works the way it always did. So I mean, it's stupid because the DWM build here is exactly the same as it was on Vanilla Arch. There was no differences. So it has to be a dependency somewhere that I just didn't have on Arch that is installed on Arco. And I don't know what dependency that would be. They said it might be the compositor, but I'm using the same PyCon that I always use. It's the try one or try whatever, the fork of PyCon that uses blur. It's not the Jonah Bird because I don't like the animations and I don't feel like turning them off. But yeah. So anyways, I hopped again today. So I have a feeling that most of what this stream is going to be is me messing around trying to get my system back to square one. Mainly because I didn't have a topic for tonight. I procrastinated all week trying to figure out what I was going to talk about this evening, mainly because last week's stream was so horrendously bad. Last week's was a complete stream fail, and the thing is about it, even after after two hops now, the new Firefox, the Proton or whatever the hell they call it, still won't work on this system. It still completely goes through and just freezes everything. It looks like Windows, XP or whatever. When the system froze, you'd have to Control Alt Delete. It's horrible. So yeah, I don't know what the hell is going. So I ended up installing the ESR version of Firefox. That seems to be working fine. But I think, honestly, what I think was happening with the other version of Firefox was that I had an extension or something causing those issues. So I got rid of all the extensions that I just didn't need, and we'll see if that helps. So the topic is topicless. Yes, I'm going to be just rambling most of the time tonight. That's the thing. Somebody earlier said another Gentoo install stream. That person is banned from the chat. No, we're not doing Gentoo again, ever. Well, I'm not ever. I thought about doing Calculate Linux on a stream. If that's something anybody would be interested in watching me do, I suppose that's something I could do. Yes, I gotta turn my phone off. Seeing as how that's the email of YouTube letting me know that I'm live. I bitch about that every single week because it's the dumbest thing ever. Like every email you send, or a company says whatever accounts for a certain amount of carbon dioxide or whatever it released into the atmosphere, that's one email they could get rid of. I'd be perfectly happy. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to mess around with my Neovim config. every time I distro hop, my Neovim config ends up borking or some kind. I'm getting a couple errors. I need to fix those. And I'm thinking about adding a couple plugins maybe. So I'm gonna mess around with that. And then maybe I'll look around for some topics for videos this week. Maybe, I don't know. I'll be here for about an hour. So that's the plan. So eventually I'm going to go through and do a new DWM race as well, because I'm getting sick of this DWM race, but I won't be able to do that on camera. Unless I do it in VM first, I suppose. So this is the error, because there's no Vim info file. I'm guessing that's the error. But if I go through and actually open up something like this one here, I get these errors. Failed to parse the SHA file. Extra bytes in message pack string position 3. So we're going to have to Google that. Has something to do, because if I do an ls here, every time I open up Vim, it creates this stupid Vim info file. And now there's like 9 of them. And it's getting really, really annoying. And I don't know why, because I'm using NVim, so it shouldn't be creating anything for Vim info. Or at least it shouldn't be creating a new file every single time. Yeah. I never opened up Emacs again after that night of that stream, to be honest. Mostly because right after that, I started having these problems with Linux, so I didn't really have enough patience to be learning anything new. I had to go through and try as much as possible to go through and, fix those problems, because it was like one problem right after another. I mean, there was the USB thing, then there was the Firefox thing, and then the OBS thing. It's done. Yeah, I'm not using Emacs at all. Maybe I'll get back into it eventually. But now, if my Linux problems are finally over after 2 weeks of nonsense, maybe I'll get back into Emacs. But right now, no, I'm still a Vim boy. Let's see here. So I got to figure out why it's creating a viminfo.temp file. So let's go ahead and open up a browser here, and we have Firefox actually working, which is good. Neovim keeps creating a viminfo.temp file. Let's see here. You can set the directory where swap files are stored. I don't know if that's really what I want to do. Is that what those are? Is swap files? I don't even know. Like I said, eventually maybe I'll get back into Emacs. I just gotta be back being comfortable in Linux again, because I was really, I mean, like I said, I've been having Linux problems. But maybe eventually Emacs will happen again. So let's see here. I don't think that's really what I wanted to do. Maybe this one here. All of a sudden, there are a few files that have appeared in my home directory. They're all variations of this. Yeah. They're also a normal .viminfo file that has always been there. What are the extra terms? Those files are created during a crash. I'm not sure if they are safe to discard or not, though. Okay, that was helpful. Oh, I like this rice, but I'm just getting bored with it. I like changing things all the time. I'll definitely be keeping the file so that I can go back to it eventually. Peter, man, you got Gen 2 on the brain. It's just not gonna happen. I did offer Calculate Linux, though. I think I will switch my camera position over here. That way you guys can read this if you want to. Oops, gotta go back. So I got this new mouse because DT decided that he was going to, I don't know if you guys can actually see this or not, but it has a trackpad or a trackball on it. DT said it was good. And yeah, it's taking some getting used to. I keep pressing buttons unintentionally. Let me see here. Because I don't know for certain if OP has changes he means to save or not. Internet search. Such files are created when a terminal running the Vim is closed without first properly closing Vim. So these are crash files. The question I have is why... So if we open up Vim again, we're getting... Can't read Vim info file. Because it's... I don't... I do need to go through... Because vim.info does not look like a SHA file. I'm going to copy and paste this and see if I can find that error. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for right here. Hello, I just updated Neovim after the usual. And now after starting in Vim, I get the following error. Yep, that's what I was getting. Build directory is build. Perhaps the .deps directory also needs to be rebuilt. See, I didn't build NVim by scratch. I built it from the AUR. Would you try the awesome window manager? I have awesome. Okay, so when I installed Arco today, this is funny. I went through and installed just a crazy amount of window managers and desktop environments. I have awesome, Herp Slough, Xmonad, DWM, BSPWM, XFCE, Plasma, i3. I'm probably forgetting one or two. It's the dumbest thing ever. I installed all of them at install. And they all installed fine except for Herp Slough. And I think Herp Slough didn't install properly because Herp Slough by default, the default configuration file does not like multiple monitors. You have to set that shit up yourself. So I'm assuming that's the reason why Herp Slough didn't actually allow me to log into it. But everything else seemed to work just fine. So yeah, I've used Awesome before and actually logged into it today. But I haven't done many videos on it. I think I only did one stream on it. So what it says here to do is just to remove the Vim info file. So remove .vim info, and then I'm going to remove all of them. Hopefully that worked. Can't read the Vim info file. Okay, well, let's see if it actually will let me go through and open up something here without, and then, I got rid of the error there, but the Vim info file for the error for the Startify is not working. And did it go through and create a Vim info again? It did. Good. So if we do this again, error's gone. That was easy enough. Good. I like when things are easy. So now, what I've decided to do is go through and actually remove the Ranger stuff from my Neovim config, because I don't use the Ranger stuff, but I would like to install NerdTree. So what I need to do, actually go through and zoom in so you guys can actually see this. Yeah, I've seen that video about Herp Slough window manager. That was awesome. How he has that one single monitor and then he can split them into virtual monitors. That was really cool. I don't have the big monitor, so I wouldn't be doing that. But I know that in order to get Herp Slough to recognize two monitors, you have to go through and actually put it in the config file that you have two monitors. And the Arco config file, which is what obviously gets installed when you install Herp Slough from the install media, doesn't recognize it or doesn't do it automatically, I guess. So that's the reason why I couldn't actually log in. Oops. I can't type worth a damn tonight. Alright, so if we cd into plugins, and then these are the plugins that I have right now. Surround and auto pairs. I don't know why I need both of those. For some reason I have both of those installed. Close tag. Airline's the fancy thing down here, which I don't think I actually haven't, enabled. This is Ranger. I'm going to be deleting that. Vim last place is the plugin that lets Vim remember where you were when, coming back to a file, which is something that should honestly be built into Vim. Startify. I may end up getting rid of that, even though I went through and did all that work to customize Startify that one time. I don't actually use it. VimWiki I use all the time, and Vim Material is a theme. So the one what we want to do is look for Nerd Tree. Here we go. Yeah, that's what I want. And I use Vim plug. So we need this thing right here. Okay, and then we move back to here, and all right, plug install. All right. Did we finish the Gen 2 install? I swear. No. I didn't finish the Gen 2 install. Although, I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I did find out what was wrong with why the Gen 2 install failed. It wasn't the Gen 2, it wasn't Gen 2 that crashed or stopped working. It was the virtual machine underneath. When I went through and tried to close the virtual machine, it froze. Like, I actually had to go through and kill it via htop, or I think I used the command line utility to kill. But yeah. That was the problem. But since then, I've distro hopped like 6 times now, so that all that work has been disappeared. Although I probably have it in a backup system somewhere. I need to delete all those extraneous virtual machines that I don't really need out of my backups because they take up a ton of space. But that's a task for another time. So let's see. We have to add the plugins or the key bindings. These are the key bindings we want right here. Okay. cd dot into key bindings, vim key bindings vim, and we can remove the Ranger ones. And then we can right click that and go back in here. Now we should be able to do leader N. No, that didn't work. Not an editor command. Okay, so command control N didn't work either. Interesting. Okay. I wonder if because I have, do I have those as something different somewhere up? I don't. Not an editor command. Nerd tree. Did I do plug install? We'll do that one. Yes. Okay. Joshua. You and Peter should get together and create like a Gen 2 club. You can have hats made. Like all the hats. I think that will do better now. Now if we do leader N, there we go. And we have nerd tree. Cool. So, yeah. There we go for that. That's awesome. That's exactly what I wanted. That's better than the Ranger. The Ranger implementation takes up the whole screen and doesn't let you actually see what's underneath it. So this is actually better. You have 3 Gen 2 shirts. Yeah. That honestly doesn't surprise me. Not even a little bit. Okay. That didn't take nearly as long as I thought it was going to. So what do I do to the rest of the night? Uh, let's see. I don't know. We get rid of some of this white space. Clean up this a little bit. We can add a comment here. One of these spaces here. Actually, we'll need that again. Actually. Okay. It's a little bit of cleaning. Well, congratulations, Philip. Glad you got into Linux. I tried Gentoo for a month or so, and the documentation is just awesome. Yeah, I'm a dummy, so documentation doesn't really help me at all. All right, let's see here. Let's see if there's anything else that I could add to my Neovim config that I'd be happy with. Last time I did this, the only one that I added was... Oh, there was something I could look... What was that called that I wanted to look into? That was... It was called LazyGit. Has anybody ever used LazyGit before in the chat? Have you guys used this before? It's a terminal-based or it's a TUI for Git. It looks awesome. I don't know if I'd actually use it because the other thing is I have Git Kraken installed as well. Right here, this thing here. I can't actually go through and sign in with it right now. I haven't done it. This is the first time I opened it, but this is a GUI version for Git. I heard about this on the Ubuntu podcast the other night too, or the other day, or the last episode, and it's supposed to be really good. The only downside about this is that they don't give you all the features. You have to pay for it. I don't really, mind paying for stuff, but I would want to use the features first. So I'd have to try the free trial or whatever and see if I would actually go through and use it. But this looks like a TUI version of it. It looks really cool. Chris That Machine was using this on his stream yesterday. That's how I found out about it. It was like, this looked really nice. Like, it prevents you from having to learn all the intricacies of using Git. Also, maybe not having to use SSH, which I've never been able to figure out. I had SSH working for Git, working for maybe a month or so, but it wasn't right. Like, I didn't do it the right way. It was like I did it through like a hack or something. I don't know. There's no real benefit of Gen 2, but learning the system to build up. Yeah. With as many problems as I've been having with browsers lately, I don't think I'd want to use Gen 2 as my main system. To have to go through and reinstall browsers every time. Although I hear there are binaries, so I don't have to recompile them, but still. what surprises me is how popular Gentoo is in my community. Like with my subscriber audience, I didn't think that Gentoo would be as big of a deal as it turned out to be. More people like Gentoo than I thought. Like I thought everybody would be an Arch or Ubuntu fans, but really, I haven't seen the Ubuntu fans. Like Terminal for Life is like the only one I know that uses Ubuntu, and seems to be proud of it. Everybody else is either Arch or Gentoo. Void is easy. Yeah, Void didn't like my computer. And I don't think it had anything to do with Void. Or, yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with Void. For whatever reason, I think I said this on the podcast, but for the first 3 times I installed Void last Thursday, it would not get past Grub. Like, it just wouldn't even boot into Grub. It was just like a blank black screen. Like, and I have no clue what was going on. The 4th time, it got past Grub and it got into a TTY, which it shouldn't have done in the first place because it was supposed to have installed XFCE. But it got into a TTY, but it wouldn't let me boot in. It wouldn't let me log in, either with root or with my user that it supposedly created. Yeah, because kids think Arch is elite. Yeah. Well, Arch isn't elite. Arch is a pain in the ass sometimes. Like, I'll tell you this right now. That vanilla Arch that I just left today, like, I was on there for probably 5 days. And it was a constant struggle because there's always, at least right after you first install it, there's always a couple dependencies that you're just missing. So you're always installing stuff that you missed during the install, and that's a kind of not the experience you want when you just want to use your computer. Gentoo is distro endgame. No, it's not. No, it's not. Maybe for you, not for me. I've heard of NixOS, but I really haven't looked into it at all. Is that the one that installs through like a config file and then builds from that or something? I think DT did a video on that. I think that's about the only exposure I've had to NixOS. If I'm gonna tell you right now, if Arco stays dependable right now, I won't be hopping again for a long time. I'm sick of distro hopping. Like I was sick of distro hopping before I hopped. And honestly, I wouldn't have hopped at all if I hadn't been having problems and I couldn't solve them. Because I thought for sure that the USB problems that I was having had something to do with the kernel, and I haven't had any USB problems since I've gotten off from that version of Arco. I'm hoping that they don't come back with this version of Arco. Oh, Gecko's awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed my time with Gecko. Uh, I just don't know that if I could use it as a daily driver or not. Maybe. I think people think Arch is elite because it takes work to install it. I don't know. Um, if that's the measure it takes for something to be elite, then there's no wonder why the Gentoo crowd thinks that they're, you know, hot shit. Because Gentoo takes way more work. But I mean, Arch isn't hard to install. It's just a pain in the butt to remember to install everything that you need. Drumpf, I'm in Arco Linux now, or Arco Linux again, I should say. It's based on Arch. It's the good Arch because it's easy to install. I, all right. Those of you who use Arco Linux, this is just a test of the people in the chat. How and you, if you've been watching the whole time, I want you to guess how many packages are on the system. I just installed this today. So in the chat, guess how many packages are on the system, then we'll go see. I don't know. So I'm going to guess along with you. I'm going to say 2,600. This is day one of this install. I've never had a hard time with Arco installing at all. 1,500, 2,200. And remember, I installed like a ton of window managers, and like Plasma's on here, and OpenBox is on. Oh, OpenBox was the other one too. 10,000. I don't. 10,000 is going to be a little high. It's definitely going to be higher than 900. I think. I think I said 2,500. Price is Right rules. $1. Oh no, I'm not saying it's blow. I know I have too much. It's just I was just curious because when you install Arch, just vanilla Arch, it's usually between 700 and 900, and this is Arco, so I'm just curious. Let's go look. Oh, 1968. We're at 1968. So was anybody close to that? It was between Steve and Chris. I was about 500 off. I'm actually surprised that it's not more than that. Because if I look at, we do a cd/user share x sessions and do an ls. Here we go. Awesome, BSPWM, DWM, Herpsluff, i3, OpenBox, Plasma, Qtile, Spectre WM, XFC, and XMonet. Those are the ones that I've installed. That's just insane, right? I installed all those directly from the Arco installer, and I thought about installing some of the, because they have a couple like rarer ones, but I didn't do those. I probably should. I should probably just should have checked them all, installed every single one of them. So yeah, I have a ton of window managers and desktop environments installed. The only one here that I know that I couldn't get into after install was, like I said, was Herpsluff, and that I already explained that. So Qtile was working fine. I didn't try Spectre, but Spectre should work fine. Somebody asked what I thought of Plasma. Before I got into tiling window manager, Plasma was my daily driver. I loved Plasma. For those of you guys who know me, I love to customize stuff, and there's no better desktop environment than Plasma to customize stuff. Joshua, what are you trying to get me to do? Should I randomly count the user, count the binaries in user/bin? Okay. $54, $53. It's a lot. I'm actually surprised. There are 29 current viewers on this right now, which is just absolutely shocking. Because I'm not doing a damn thing. I did go through and get my NVIM a little bit better. At least the error is gone. And then I was going to look for some... Oh, this was Get Kraken. We can close that. I'm going to do a video on Get Kraken. And I think I'm going to do a video on that, on this thing here. The lazy Git. So... that's going to be something else I'll be installing. Most of this other stuff here, I don't. The thing about my Neovim, my Vim use, is that I don't actually need a ton of stuff adding on to it. That's the reason why I stopped using that Lunar Vim. The Chris that machine did that Lunar Vim version of Neovim. It's all written in Lua. It just had too much stuff there for me. GNOME is even better for tweaking because it's tweaked to perfection out of the box. I think I think that you deserve to be banned. That's horrible. Oh, GNOME is terrible. But I mean, if you like it, go forth and be happy, as they say. It doesn't matter that I don't like it. It's just okay. So in the new GNOME 40, if you have multiple monitors, it used to be in GNOME in multiple monitors, you'd have the same amount of desktops on each monitor. They were like attached together. If you switched to Workspace 2, both monitors would switch to Workspace 2. In GNOME 40, or at least in the Arch version of GNOME 40, I don't know if this is the case in all distros, but only the first monitor has workspaces. The second one doesn't get attached to any workspace other than the first one, and you can't change it. It's the dumbest thing ever. Try emacs.vim. You can install it directly from the Arch repos. Yeah, I'm not getting into Emacs tonight. I don't have that kind of gumption. Plus, I did that, and I wasn't impressed. But I need to spend some more time with it, like, just on my own. You know, force myself to use it, like, with actual work. And then maybe I will get into it a little bit better. I don't remember the regular GNOME 3 having that either, because it was working fine. Or, I mean, not fine, but I mean, it was at least something that was usable. Yeah, if you have to change something in tweaks, then it's not a good way to do it, because you're not. It's not. It's very apparent that the GNOME team does not want you to go through and use um, any tweaks whatsoever. I mean, even Ubuntu has gone through and like hard coded into the settings, the ability to change to a dark theme. That's never going to come to GNOME. They don't want you to care. Hey Zany, how you doing, bud? We're doing absolutely nothing. Yeah. Well, I don't. Gumption. It is a good word. Explains a lot of things. Lack of it. One monitor rule. Then why do you need more than one workspace? Because I need more than one workspace. It's going to just one workspace would kill everything that I do in workflow. Yeah. It's a Seinfeld episode today. Yes, it's the stream about nothing. That's what I should have used for the title. It's a stream about nothing. Uh, the thing is, I hated Seinfeld. I couldn't stand him. I don't think I've ever watched more than one episode of that show in all the seasons that it was on. Well, 400 workspaces might be a little bit too much. Too many. 350 sounds more like a better idea. I don't think I need any auto completion in Vim. The only thing I'm gonna be doing is bash. Yeah, agree, Maitland. Yep. That's exactly what I want. Although 9 per monitor is fine. It works fine in DWM. That's the way I like it. I think that's that way that Awesome works too, and that's gonna be fine. The That's one of the reasons why I don't mess around with Qtile all that much, is because of the way it does workspaces. Like I have one of those subscribers that tells me that I can use more than 9 workspaces, but I never get around to it. Well, I gotta go through and make sure that my Vim works well for our Bash challenge. Not that I can tell you what I'm doing, because I still don't know. Sometimes. So for those of you guys who don't know, for episode 50, which is coming up in 4 episodes of the Linux Cast, so that should be sometime in like late July, I think ish, maybe the first week of August. I'm not actually sure, but Tyler and I are going to be doing a Bash challenge where we've challenged ourselves to do something cool and original in Bash. It's gonna be fun. Uh, we just started like yesterday, and we have until episode 50 in order to actually do it. Um, Xmonad in Arco also has 10 workspaces. So, yeah, that should be fun. I don't know what I'm doing yet though, and I can't tell anybody when I do decide because that's part of the rules is that we can't tell each other, and if that kind of extends to not being able to tell anybody on the internet either, because eventually they'll get back to one of us. Eventually, I'll know what I'm doing though. I do need to decide because I do not want it to be like the week before that happens and just then start doing it because I don't know anything about Bash all that much, so I need to actually go through and learn it. Oh, let's see here. It'll only be cool for you. Yeah, that gives me an idea. I could do something that's just, I was thinking, I don't know. I can't really say. We'll see. How to use tabs for buffers in Vim. Because I don't actually know how to use tabs in Vim. A tab page is a collection of windows. In Vim, a tab has different meaning than most text editors. In most text editors and modern browsers, a tab usually means an open file page. When we close it, that file tab goes away. In Vim, a tab does not represent an open file. We just learned that Vim saves open files as in buffers. It sounds like a task for Emacs. Okay, Peter, if you had to choose between Emacs and Gentoo, which would you choose? You can only use one. I'd like to know. I think I broke Peter. I don't think he can answer the question. Or he's trying to come up with something clever. So you'd use the Emacs WM or whatever it's called, the EXM or whatever it is? Okay. So Gentoo's obviously your second choice. I wonder how Gentoo feels about that. Now, see, if you asked me the question, if I had to choose between DWM, which is, I guess, I'm trying to think of a core thing that is kind of similar for me. I think something that I would absolutely be sad if I could no longer use it. I don't think there is anything really. I mean, because if I couldn't use like Vim or something, I could use Emacs. I mean, just use it like Vim. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. Choose between Void and Gnome. I get rid of both of them. There's nothing wrong with Void. I just couldn't get to work. And like I said, I think that was more of a hardware problem than me. Had something almost guaranteed had something to do with the driver somewhere along the line. Those are usually the culprits when something won't install properly. Although usually at least it'll get past grub. I'm wondering if that grub thing was because I had multiple hard drives. Because, I don't know, it was weird. The shocking thing here is that I've been streaming for 47 minutes already. Good lord. I have done absolutely nothing. But that's okay. Next week, I do need a topic for next week. I thought you said 5.13 was available today. I know you were really looking forward to that. Do you know for a fact, Tyler, that 5.13 is going to solve your problems? I know you don't like using Windows. I can't blame you. I would not want to use Windows either. Only as a release candidate. Oh, then you're a little whiles away. What? What? It's usually like what? At least 3 weeks between release candidates? I don't even know. Like, I don't pay that much attention to the kernel development as much as I should. So it should help you. Hopefully that they hurry that along. What is this Windows thing you're talking about? So, for those of you guys who didn't listen to the podcast, I keep coming back to this, but we made it through the entire podcast, and then at the very end, Tyler sprung on me the fact that he'd been using Windows the whole time. It was sneaky because he had told me up front when he was using a Mac, and I spent the entire episode that he used a Mac making fun of him. So he didn't let me do that with the Windows thing. Oh, but yeah. One topic would be encrypting external hard drives with crypt setup. Hmm. Yeah, he's gone from Mac OS to Windows. He's not he's been having hardware problems just as bad as I've been having Linux problems. What I was thinking about doing for next week was installing Calculate Linux, because a lot of people seem to like the Gen 2 thing, so I was going to give that a try. The problem is I don't know how long it will take. It shouldn't take nearly as long, I don't think. But I don't know anything about Calculate Linux. It's definitely going to have to be something I look into. So that's one option. The other option was going to be browsers. Uh, what I've thought about doing was go through and do a stream where I just set up Qt browser the way I'd want it, and see if I can't finally get the because they went through and allow you to use the Brave ad blocking stuff, and I've never been able to get that to work. So eventually, I'm keeping a list of all the times that he uses anything other than Linux. It's not Gen 2. And no plugins in Vim. I use plugins in Vim. You guys are gonna have to deal with that. I know there are purists out there that don't like to use plugins in Vim, but that's not me. I don't care. Maybe if I was a hardcore programmer or something and needed to be super fast, but I don't. Yeah, I tried Qt Browser for a whole week, but that was before the Brave ad blocking stuff. I could not get through without ad blocking. Like, I know I'm a YouTuber and want to make money off from ads and stuff like that, but I can't sit through ads. Maybe if it was just like the pre-roll ads, that's fine. I can deal with those because most of those things are skippable. But it's the ones where they put in them like the middle of the video. I hate those. That's why I always turn those off for my videos whenever I can, because I don't want to inflict that pain on anybody else. Yeah. So, yeah, I was thinking about going through and setting up Qt Browser on a stream as well. That's one option. And then, one of these times I'm just gonna go through and play a game. Uh, some kind of, maybe it's an open source game, maybe it's just a regular game. Just call it community game night, or whatever. I know other Linux YouTubers do that too, but I don't care about stealing from them. Uh, I don't know what game it would be yet, but I wanted to get past my Linux problems before I actually went through and even decided to do that. The Bitwarden plugin, yeah. See, I have Bitwarden. I just use the Bitwarden app most of the time, but I do end up using the plugin quite a bit too. Yeah, I just got to decide what game I'd want to go through and do. Maybe something that was multiplayer that everybody could kind of join in on, but I don't know what to do yet. Something. It's bubbling in the back of my mind. Elder Scrolls Online or Dark Soul. I used to play all the Elder Scrolls games. Skyrim was the last one that I played, and I didn't care for it nearly as much as Oblivion. Maybe it's just because Oblivion was the first one that I played before I went back and played the previous ones. So I was really attached to Oblivion, but I didn't care as much for Skyrim. Of course, by the time that Skyrim came out and I actually got it, I was moving away from console gaming, and that's what I had it for, was consoles and stuff. And it's the problem I always had with console gaming is that I didn't play it often enough. So every time I went to play something on console, I had to wait for the console to go through and actually do an update, and it was like an hour long wait in order to do the update. And then by the time I actually had done the update, I no longer wanted to play. So it's called Tetris and Emacs. Oh man. uh, Gen 2 and Emacs, man, it's apparently the only thing that exists in the world of Peter. Really, the only gaming I do now is Hearthstone and then some mobile gaming. But I've been wanting to get back into it. So that's something that I was thinking about too. So those are three options for the next few weeks. And then somebody asked me to go through and do a new i3 rice from scratch. I don't remember who it was, but I'll be doing that on stream eventually as well. How to install i3 in Ubuntu and rice it and all that stuff right from scratch. I did like an i3 rice like a few weeks ago. It was just ricing it though. And the rice was horrible. It was like purple and pink. If you guys remember that, it was horrible. Never let Matt choose the colors. I'm the only person you know that's into phone gaming. Yeah, see, that's the most because I don't know because when I'm in my when I'm at my computer, I'm here to do work or watch YouTube videos. So most of the time when I go through and do stuff I'm gaming whatever, I want to do it on my phone. Okay. Of course, when I pick up my phone, I end up having to look at emails. That's just the way it happens. Eventually, I'll get my emails and stuff set back up on this computer. I have a ton of scripts that I have to go through and do. Um, in order to get my DWM bar back up working, I have to get the temperature one working, and I have to get the weather one working and the update one working. And I have to set up all the cron jobs for those things. I If you don't follow me on Twitter, you guys don't know this story, but the temperature script that I was using uh, went through and it so the first thing it did was it went through and ran LM sensors every 3 minutes, and then it saved that to a file, and then it grepped out the current CPU temperature and put that into another file. And I didn't have it set up because I didn't think about it. I didn't have it set up to delete the old entries into the file. So by the time I went through and actually hopped off from that old version of Arco, it had like over like 9 million lines. Or it was some insane number of lines because it was doing it every 3 minutes for like months on end. It was the dumbest thing ever. I took a picture of that and put that or I think I just copied the number and put it on Twitter. But that was hilarious. And I didn't actually go through and check the LM sensors file that I was saving all the LM sensors, because every time you run LM sensors, you get like, I don't know, 10, 15 lines of stuff. And it was doing that every 3 seconds. Or not every 3 seconds, every 3 minutes. It was it was just it was the dumbest bash scripting thing, and I had no idea what was going on because I completely forgot that I hadn't set it up to actually go through and delete the last entry. Uh, it's just silly. That script is going to have to be something that I'm going to have to uh, fix. Twitter is for normies. I use Twitter. I guess I'm a normie. I can't help it. I use Twitter a lot. I like Twitter actually way more than Facebook. Facebook is broken and dumb. At least with Twitter, for the most part, you just have to follow people that aren't going to tweet out stupid shit like politics and stuff. So I just follow Linux people on Twitter. I have a Facebook account for family members. That's about it. I used to be in some groups and stuff, but most of that's died down now. You should do a pair scripting with Learn Linux and for life, or what's his current his name is Terminal for Life. He's going to teach me bash scripting eventually. I think that's in the plans, but he's been having problems with auto exec the last couple days. I've been following that saga. I'm on Mastodon. I don't use it though. Uh, I'm pretty sure the only thing I've ever used Mastodon for was to toot out the toot. Like my first, because they call instead of tweets, they're toots. So my first toot was the word toot, because what else could it possibly be? What fun programming related stuff can I do on Linux as a programmer? You'd have to ask a programmer. I'm not one of those. Um, oh goodness. I'm honestly surprised that so many people showed up to a stream that didn't have a topic. Like it's kind of crazy. Mastodon is fun. A lot of Emacs enthusiasts there. Oh goodness. I think the only reason I keep Facebook now is because, like I said, family. I gotta keep up with, people don't live around me. What is my opinion on Manjaro? I like Manjaro a lot. I just don't like the theming of it. And I don't know, some of the stuff that they've done in the background has been kind of shady. Like there've been several stories of them making weird deals and stuff like that. And they did that whole office suite deal or whatever, where they're trying to force people to use a proprietary office suite or something. So it was some of their stuff is kind of shady. The distro itself is great. The people behind it, I don't really care for all that much. And for whatever reason, I just find the Arco Linux community a little bit more friendly. And there's a lot more material for help on Arco Linux because Eric Dubois does all those YouTube videos, and those are great. Facebook is for Emacs users, Chris. That's great. Wants me to install Gentoo again. I'm not going to install Gentoo again. I should get it on a shirt. Not going to install Gentoo again. Never again. Uh, Reddit is great for Linux support kind of all around, honestly. Because if you want suckless support, that's the best place for it for sure. Oh, fine. It was that was that oh fine said with a long sigh because I wasn't gonna install Gentoo again. I'm sorry, man. I do apologize for not being able to be smart enough to install Gentoo. I thought you thought I wanted to do another Gentoo stream. I don't understand where anybody got that impression. Hmm. Well, I made it to over an hour of what the hell is going on? Oh, you wanna? I wonder if I have like autofocus on or something. It shouldn't be on. No. I've noticed that the last couple things that where my camera will go through and like change colors. Like there, I did it again. That's really weird. Nothing ever goes right. It doesn't matter. I don't know. Even if I had like a rainy day and had absolutely nothing else to do, I don't think that you do vanilla and Gentoo. I do want to try one of the Gentoo base distros. It's not a cheap camera. It's just an old camera. It's like a Logitech camera from like 10 years ago. So we should be happy that it looks this good. I do need a new one though. I was thinking about it though. I just don't know which one to do. The problem is you search for 1080p webcam on Amazon and you get the top result are all these crappy ones. Or at least it used to be that now they put show these Logitech ones. See, this is like a new version of the one that I have right here. This 920. I think I have the previous version of that. Like I said, it is old. I bought it when I was in college, and I've been out of college since 2010. So I think I looked at the Avermedia one. It was like 200 bucks or something. Of course, you can't even buy it now. You missed college. I I miss some things about college. I don't miss the bills. You know what I mean? I don't miss, or put it this way, I don't miss racking up more bills. Go DSLR with a capture card. Well, I don't have that kind of money. Eventually, maybe. Right now, like I said, I don't have that kind of money. What does this actually come with? YouTuber startup pack, stream and record your pull, blah 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 blah. It's actually in the box. It's come with a camera. Maybe. I'm a free ride through college dropout. Well, maybe if you hadn't spent all that time compiling Gen 2. Haha. Gadoonch. There are people who go to college forever. Like they just over and over again. We call those people uh rich people, I guess. I don't know. All right. Okay, so technologically this stream went way better than last week. So that's a good thing. That means, or at least I hope it means, that I've gotten everything sorted out. And because of that hop, I try the problem I was having for the podcast, I know I got fixed because I tested it out earlier. So I got that done. You used Ubuntu back then, and you decided to move from Ubuntu to Gentoo? I just ran out of scholarships because I was in college for 6 years. Yeah, I was in college for 6 years too. I started in 2004 and ended up in 2010. But that's because after I got done with my bachelor's degree, I moved on to get a master's. And I didn't finish the master's because I ran out of money. Make a Discord, Matt. 10,000 subscribers, I'll make a Discord. I'm not there yet. Tell your friends. I've been pretty consistent on saying that I'll start a Discord at 10,000 subscribers. Education should be free. In theory, I think that's probably a good idea. I just don't know how we'd pay for it. hmm I got really lucky though, to be able to get most of my education for what I did, to Debian and then to Fedora and then to Gentoo. That's quite a Linux journey there, Joshua. So my Linux journey started with Solus. Back in 2017, Solus Budgie was my first Linux desktop that I deliberately switched to full time. And then I moved to Ubuntu I think I moved to Ubuntu Budgie because I was really into the Budgie desktop for a long time. And then after that, I can't even remember. I switched too many times. But it was variations on using KDE with whatever distro that I was on for a while. Uh, and then once I and then I found Antergos. So the Antergos guys that are no longer around, uh, that was my first intro to Arch. And once you try the AUR, you don't go back, and you just don't. Yeah, I know the Solus stuff. Trying to get the software you need on Solus is just not a good experience. They do as well as they can, and I think it would be better now because you can use snaps or flat packs. So you'd have an option to get your software from snaps or flat packs if that's what you wanted to do. But when I first started using Solus back in 2017, snaps and stuff, I think they were around, but they weren't nearly as good as they are now. Uh, Good, you know what I mean? The AUR isn't that great. Oh, God. No, don't say that, burning. How do I ban somebody? Oh, you can actually. Oh, you can put a user in timeout. Cool. I'm doing that. I'm not actually doing that, but take that back. AUR is not that great. What is wrong with you? He can't explain why because it's complete and utter nonsense. The AUR is not that great. Oh, what is wrong with you, man? Just imagine a world where you can install whatever software you want with a single command. And it's controlled by the community, not by Canonical. So it doesn't have the problems of Snap. It doesn't have the problems of Flatpak, which are many. Now, it doesn't mean the AUR is perfect. The AUR has many problems, just like any software repository system. Has Surprisingly enough, the AUR has the same kind of problems that the PPA system had, in terms of things being abandoned and some kind of nefarious stuff going on. Um, just compile everything from source and have the package management done in your head. No, sudo make install. Okay. All right. That's gonna be it for me this week, guys. Thanks for thanks for sticking around through a stream with no topic, because there was no topic. I'm actually surprised I had so much to talk about. I just kind of rambled for an hour and 15 minutes. Holy hell. That was a long time. So before I go, should take a moment to thank our patrons. Devon, Marcus, Meglin, Donnie, Sven, East Coast Web, Merrick, Camp, Mitchell, and Chris. Chris is a brand new patron. Thanks for your support. Thanks everybody for your support. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.